background. It's okay. I don't. Right. I'll start with my prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Ham Shri Guru Shriyotapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्ता वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी नीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशे तारिणे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Okay, Hare Krishna, devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. I was preparing for the 29th chapter, verse number 28, and I will, as part of that, I was reading the 29th chapter in the Bhagavatam. So, that will become the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm sharing my screen. So the 29th chapter is Kapila Muni explaining to Devahuti about the explanation of devotional service. One second. Yeah, explanation of the devotional service by Lord Kapila is the title of this chapter, and some background is that in the previous chapter, Kapila Muni had started talking to his mother Devahuti, about he not just before this chapter, but a few chapters leading to this chapter. He talks about the Sankhya philosophy. Then he also talks about the Ashtanga yoga system in the previous chapter. And now here in this chapter, Devahuti is now asking, she's putting a couple of questions to him. She says, Devahuti inquired, my dear Lord, you have already very scientifically described the symptoms of the total material nature and the characteristics of the spirit according to Sankhya system of philosophy. Now I shall request you to explain the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical systems. So she clearly states that Bhakti Yogasya me margam bruhi vistar rashaha prabho, meaning please explain me that path of devotional service. So I was drawing a parallel with the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna in the sixth chapter, he explains the the Ashtanga yoga system, the yoga system, and then towards the end of the chapter, Arjuna says that this system of yoga that you have explained is very difficult to execute, and I can control the wind, but it's difficult to control the mind. And then Krishna replies that yes, it is difficult, but at the same time, you can practice. But at the end of the chapter, Krishna then establishes Bhakti Yoga as superior to the Ashtanga Yoga that he explained, and then begins the seventh chapter, which is the series of devotional services, devotional bhakti yoga. So similarly, drawing a parallel here, after he describes, we see that Devahuti is asking Kapila Muni that please explain to me the devotional service now, which is the end, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical systems. So this is a long chapter. I'll just go over a few of the um, verses here. So first, very systematically, Kapila Muni begins to answer the questions of Mother Devahuti. He first talks about the principles of Bhakti Yoga. He describes the Bhakti Yoga, and then he talks about the characteristics of the uh, Bhakti Yoga. He describes the Bhakti Yoga in different, executing Bhakti Yoga in different modes. From verse number 10 or 11 onwards, he talks about the Bhakti Yoga in different modes. Sorry, from text number 7. And then in verse number 13 is a significant one, which I'll also read. He says that Shalokya Sarsti Samipya Sarupyekatvam api uta diyamanam na grihananti vina mat sevanam janaha. A pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation. Salokya, Sarsti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Kapila Muni is establishing that a pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation as long as, not as long as, but if there is no service attached to that liberation. And Srila Prabhupada in the last paragraph explains, a pure devotee does not accept these 5 kinds of spiritual existence, even if they are offered, and he certainly does not hanker after material benefits, which are insignificant in comparison with spiritual benefits. When Prahlad Maharaj was offered some material benefit, he stated, "My Lord, I have seen that my father achieved all kinds of material benefits, and even the demigods were afraid of his opulence. But still, in a second, you have finished his life and all his material propensity. For a devotee, there is no question of desiring any material or spiritual prosperity. He simply aspires to serve the Lord. That is his highest happiness." So, Srila Prabhupada here is clearly stating that initially it seemed like rejecting material benefits, but he also says that desiring any material or spiritual prosperity. So these different kind of liberation, Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva, the details are explained in the previous paragraph, are spiritual prosperity. Instead, the devotee simply aspires to serve the Lord. So service is the main aim. And Bhakti Yoga is exactly that to serve the Lord in devotion. And that is his highest happiness. Then after that, Kapila Muni, in a few verses, he explains the characteristics of the pure bhakti beyond uh, the 3 modes, meaning in a transcendental state. Then comes Then he gives the different ways of practicing the devotional services or the bhakti yoga. Then another section comes from text number 21. He talks systematically. He talks about obstacles in the bhakti yoga. He establishing the bhakti yoga as superior. Then the next thing is that, can there be any obstacles in the bhakti yoga? And he describes those obstacles, and not only he describes the obstacles, but he also gives the solution to those obstacles. So from text 21 through 27, he talks about the obstacles, and those obstacles are offenses or aparads. So let's look at them. Text 21. I am present in every living entity as the super soul. If someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply an imitation. So Kapila Dev is very clearly stating that if somebody is doing deity worship, but if they disregard the super soul everywhere, so that is simply an imitation. And the series of verses will be centered around that particular theme, uh, the super soul existing in all living entities. 22. If one who worships the deity of the Godhead in the temples, but does not know that the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is situated in every living entity's heart, must be in ignorance and is compared to one who offers oblations into ashes. Not into fire, but into ashes. Text 23. One who offers me respect is but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist, never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. So this is the critical nature, the fault finding or the critical nature that devotees may have against other devotees. But because he's saying that looking seeing him as the super soul, it not just includes devotees, but it's much more broader, everyone. So the ability for us to see that the super soul is in every living entity, and whether it is a fault, some kind of a dosha, or or criticizing some of their activities, it is all being manifested or enacted by the Supreme Lord or by the will of the Lord, according to their own karma, according to the different situations. Text 24. My dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple. So he has very clearly established the obstacles that can arise in the devotional service. Now he will give the solution in the next three verses, 25 through 27. Performing his prescribed duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence in his own heart and in the hearts of other living entities as well. 26. As the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a differential outlook. 27. Therefore, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me, who abide in all creatures as their very self. So, learning to be equi uh, what is that word? Equanimity, having an equal vision, which is what even Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita in so many different places. Wherever he talks about the characteristics of a devotee, the characteristics of devotional service, the equanimity always comes up. And that equanimity can be established only if we see the Supreme Lord as super soul in all living entities. And after this verse, there are a few verses about the gradations of the different objects. And we'll see that he will establish that the super soul does not just exist in the living entities, but in inanimate or as we call non-living entities as well. So through this knowledge and through this practice, we can get to that level. The details can be many, variety of details can be there, but the principle is very clear here. The principle is to see the Supreme Lord as the super soul in all living entities. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks also in the 10th chapter, verse 40 or something like that. 40. Yeah, 41. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So from text 28 onwards, I was supposed to read this verse number 28, which led me to read the previous verses. So 28 through about 30 something, 36, the gradations are mentioned. So text 28, living entities are superior to inanimate objects, O blessed mother. And among them, living entities who display life symptoms are better. Animals with developed consciousness are better than them, and better still are those who have developed sense perception. So there are a series of verses. I will not go through or read all those verses, but very quickly describe. So in inanimate objects or non-living entities are lower. The sequence will be as we go, the next stage is higher than the previous. So inanimate objects are the lowest, and then higher than them are the living and immovable entities. Then the entities with greater life symptoms, entities that show some kind of life symptoms. That includes smaller bacteria, plants, etc. Then entities with developed consciousness, the consciousness gradually develops. And then the entities with sense perception, then beings with touch sensation. So gradually the touch sensation develops. We see that touch sensation may not be there in the lower form of living entities. Then beings with taste sensation, the ability to taste different food or different things. Then beings with the sense of smell, being ability to smell, then the ability to hear, then beings who can distinguish between different forms, then entities with two sets of teeth, beings with many different legs, the legs begin to form. Then the animals with four legs, then comes the humans. with two legs. Now, within the humans, non-varnashrama humans, human beings who do not follow any kind of system, varnashram system, then humans following the varnashrama system, then among the human beings following the varnashrama system, brahmanas are better, and better than the brahmanas are the brahmanas who not just are titled brahmanas, but who knows the Vedas and study the Vedas and can explain the scriptures. Then Brahmanas who know the meaning of the Vedas, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, the purpose of the Vedas is to know him. Vedasya sarva aham eva vedya. Then Brahmanas who can dispel doubts. So it's not just theoretical knowledge, but also practical knowledge, that using the theory who can uh, practically give advice and dispel the doubt. Then next is Brahmanas who can follow his duties, then the liberated persons among them, and then finally a pure devotee. So he systematically he establishes that the pure devotees is the best among them. And after that, there are other questions. Devotee also asks about the influence of the time. I will not go into that. Kapila Dev starts talking about time, its influence, and characteristics of the time. Okay, so I will stop here and invite if there is any discussion. Otherwise, we'll stop. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna,
All
Mataji,
glories to
please accept.
Bhagavad Srila Prabhupada.
Mine too. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Very very excellent topic. Kapila Dev has talk with Devahuti, Mother Devahuti, regarding Sarupya. Actually, I just remembered Gajendra. Gajendra, who was personally rescued by the Lord, it is said there that he achieved Sarupya. And then regarding Salokya, I was remembering Uddhava's prayer. May I be born as a blade of grass in Vrindavana, so that the dust of the gopis will purify me. I will get the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotees, the gopis. So, as far as devotee is concerned, we are not seeking for these things, but these things just, I was wondering, please, how the Lord awards them. Like Uddhava attained the life of a plant or grass in Vrindavan. Gajendra Gajendra was awarded the Sarupya, etc. So just please comment, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. As per my understanding, it's not bad to attain Sarupya, Salokya, etc. But what Kapila Dev is talking about is the mentality or the desire that a devotee should have, or rather a pure devotee has. So he simply desires service of Krishna without any kind of um, desire that in return I want this or that. In that situation, then it's up to Krishna. It's up to the Lord that, okay, whatever is right for my situation, let him award. So all these, even Sarupya, Salokya, etc., except the ekatva, except the impersonal liberation, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also disregards when he talks about liberation. He talks about only 4 and he eliminates the 5th one.
Yeah.
So they are all okay, and it's up to the Lord to give them, but the desire to have them is not there in a pure devotee.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you. Please have a good rest of your day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Wonderful class.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.